And we're here at 5 past because 3 tall ships have docked in Stanley this week. I'm here with Jay, who's one of the crew members for the Bark Europa. Jay, can you explain to us a little bit more about why you're here?
Sure thing. We are 3 Dutch ships that are traveling together, and we've done a sail around the world journey for the last year or so. And we've sailed from Amsterdam down to South Africa and America, South America, traveled over to Cape Horn, all the way around the world. So we've been really traveling quite some distance together as 3 tall ships. Reason we've been doing this is to sort of celebrate the way that things were done in the past and the history of how things happened and the traditional way of sailing and following the trade winds. We do it all in the old way by pulling rope and physical manpower. So we have a lot of comforts and luxury. But on the other hand, you're out in all weather on the helm. Doesn't matter what the weather is, doesn't matter what time of night it is. You just gear up, and that's how we work the ship.
And what's the significance of all 3 tall ships being here?
We have just come around Cape Horn. So we have sailed from Australia, then to New Zealand, and then to the Chatham Islands, and then down around Cape Horn. And we had to hit the 50 latitude and then come into Stanley as our port.
The ship it was initially built in 1911.
Correct.
I mean, obviously it's changed a fair little bit here and there in between, but I mean, can you tell us a little bit the history of the Europa?
Sure, I can speak for Bark Europa. She was originally a light ship, which means that she was a sort of like a lighthouse, a floating lighthouse on the River Elbe, on its way into Hamburg, and she was the number 4 light ship. And so she was built in 1911, and for several years she was abandoned after World War II and just was sitting in some shipyard. And then in the late 80s was bought and rejuvenated into the sail training vessel that we have here. Europa has been sailing around in the capacity that she is now since about the mid-90s as a sail training vessel.
And as well, there's quite a romantic love story around the figurehead on the bow of the ship as well,
yeah.
which for anyone at home has a white bull's head and the Lady Europa herself. Can you explain to us a little bit more about that love story?
Sure. Well, it's a Greek myth called Europa, and essentially what Zeus did was he fell in love with this mortal girl named Europa because she was quite lovely with golden red hair flowing down and luxurious hair, and he tried to woo her in the form of descending as a huge white powerful steer or bull. And Europa came to the bull and grabbed the bull's mane or hair in her hand and got up on top of the bull, and he ran off into the sunset with her and then transformed back into Zeus. And she was so enamored with him by that point in time that he sort of took her on as his love. So welcome to the main deck of Europa. We have 3 different types of decks. We have the poop deck, the main deck, the sloop deck, and then we have the foredeck as well. So these are different areas where we can indicate to people. But this is currently right now is our sail making area where we're repairing some damage that was done to some of our sails while we came through. Don't worry, damage happens to sails all the time. Yeah. Just because the wind is strong and we get tears, chafing, friction against the different things. And so we have this very industrial sewing machine, and we have some very capable hand stitchers, and so looks like they're patching up a hole in one of the sails here. But if you know, this stuff is really very strong material, so for a seam to bust it means that it was over quite some time or quite a strong wind. The keys are, we have a lot of merchandise on board that we sell to voyage guests or to people on shore, and so we have a lot of stuff hidden away in the most unusual places, that's for sure.
So no treasure chests?
No treasure chest just yet. So this is the library. And this is usually the quiet area of the ship for people to work, because right next door is the cabin's deck, and then right here is the first mate. So there's always somebody sleeping because we're a 24-hour ship. Over here is a chart of all the trips that Europa has done since 2000. So you can kind of see a variety. The white part in the center is essentially our standard route that we do, which is down through the Atlantic. On our last trip, I think we had 13 different nationalities mixed between voyage crew and permanent crew. Because we travel around the world, people know a lot more about us. And plus, if you look us up online or even do an internet search of, you know, tall ships, sailing ships that go to Antarctica, we're one of only a handful of actual ships that do regular Antarctic voyages. We do up to 5 a year.
Just did some shopping now, it's still available.
The many years that Europa has been traveling, they know more or less what's available in each port. And so like in Ushuaia, they might load up on a specific thing or spice and buy way more of it there to last the entire year. If we head up this way, I'm going to bring you up to the wheelhouse, which is the command center of the ship, and I'm going to show you the helm. So this is essentially the command center, if you like, and we have the radar over here and our depth sounder and our GPS locations. We still use paper charts and we still plot everything on the paper charts, but we also use the digital. Currently, right now, digital is not just the way to go. You still should have a backup system. So, but if you had 2 digital systems, you wouldn't necessarily need the paper. But we're kind of old-fashioned, so we like the paper. The true way to steer, and being on helm, is to stand on the side of it, so that you can see the compass and the rudder indicator, but more importantly, to see what the sails are doing and how they're responding to the position of the wind, and how you are in relation to the wind. And that's really how you should be steering, is based on what's happening with the sails. The compass is kind of like your speed indicator on the car. You don't stare at the speedometer that you're doing. You look outside to see where you're driving. It's the same idea on the ship.
Having this all outside, it must be even more difficult when you're kind of getting close to Antarctica. I mean, it's quite windy right now, as you can see.
You just prepare for the cold, and you don't stay out here for more than, say, maybe half an hour. And we always have 2 people out here at one time, just in case that somebody gets cold. But when you're on here and out in the middle of the ocean with whales and dolphins around you and albatross flying around, stars are amazing. These gold earrings are because I've gone around Cape Horn, and they say that you're supposed to put the gold earring in the ear that you faced Cape Horn. So because we went from the west to the east, they're in my east ear. But pirates would have a gold earring also, because of the idea that if ever they were washed up ashore or died, they would be able to have the payment for a good Christian burial. So that's why pirates have the gold earring. People come on for a variety of reasons. Number one being that they love the idea of being on a tall ship, the adventure of it, you know, the history behind it. Others are wanting to experience the history of the past. Some want to learn about celestial navigation, how to use a sextant, how to use the GPS and plot and chart. Some want more practical experience. Some want to have the experience of going up into the rigging and working on the sails. So we try to cater for every aspect of what people want to come for. And if you want to come and just sit and read a journal and write in your journal and read books, that's okay too.
Oh, great, so you cater for quite a lot. And
yeah.
What was it that drew you to the Europa initially?
Just the majestic look of these things on the water, seeing them in full sail. I'm originally from Ireland, and there was a tall ship festival just outside my hometown, and I went down and I saw them coming in under parade of sail, and it was literally just a blast from the past, a really majestic moment to see them. And then later on to find out that I could actually be on board was you know, mind-blowing. Yeah, and now I've been working on here for the last 8 years. It's a little bit life-changing in the way of your concept of, what I say is, because of iPads and iPhones and iPods and all the computerized, people have become very isolationary, and they don't know how to communicate anymore with each other. And what you get here on board is these really deep, intense connections with people, because you go far into what makes you you, what philosophies do you have about this, what was your childhood like, you know, you get into more to talk about, because you don't have the distraction of internet or TV or documentaries or TVs. Not that there's anything wrong with TV, but you just for the moment have a reprieve from it, and then you get that connection again with people. And people play guitar and they play chess and cards and they have fun and they learn how to connect again. And I think that's one of the things that draws people back, is the idea of that connection with people, to be in the same experience, literally the same boat, for a long period of time in each other's space, and you just learn how to be around people again. You know, it really is something that you walk away with, not only having the adventure of the sailing, the experience, the history, but you walk away with that intense connection of friendship and community. I think that what keeps bringing me back.